Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. In early March, it was early on a Saturday morning. Over the lake, there was a thin, light fog. About 7 months ago, I moved to the Smoky Mountains to get away from the world of strip malls, new housing developments, traffic jams, and rude people. I used those 7 months to relax and fix up my 4,000 square foot log cabin home, which is where I live. I unpacked all my things, or at least the ones I brought with me, and began my new life. During this time, I was grateful for my 3 dogs, Nikki, who is half Siberian Husky and half Alaskan Malamute, Cole, my Belgian Shepherd, and Daisy, my aloof Golden Retriever. There was also a lot of snow, so next year I'll get more wood for my fire, and of course, one of the main reasons I moved here was the wildlife. As a wildlife photographer, I used to have to travel for hours to do my job. Now, my job is right outside my house, and my darkroom and office are inside. Today was the day I promised myself I would start putting no hunting signs around the edge of my 98-acre property. I didn't want the signs to take away from the beautiful scenery, but there would be no hunting at all here. Me and the 3 girls, the dogs, ate breakfast, and then left. I took the 4-wheeler with the utility trailer attached, and the dogs followed on foot. When we got to the first property line, I started putting up signs on the pine trees that seemed to keep growing higher and higher. After about 2 hours of the dogs playing in the woods and following me as I moved slowly, I came across a hiker making her way slowly through the forest and underbrush. I said my name and asked her what she was doing there. She was named Julie, and it turned out that she owned the land next to mine. She said she had been walking since dawn because she thought she was following hunters. I offered to help if it would help us deal with the hunters. She told him, "I'm kind of your neighbor, and I'm also the game warden for this area. I'd really like your help." I called the dogs and told them to follow, and Julie and I hopped on the 4-wheeler and headed in the direction she pointed. When we were close to where we thought the poachers were, we turned off the car and started walking. We didn't make it in time because we saw a freshly killed deer with its horns hacked off. I told Julie, "This is what I hate the most. People who just want a trophy and waste the life of an innocent animal without using it to its full potential." We went forward and saw someone in front of us. 2 men with guns were not more than 150 yards away. "Odd, there were 3 before," Julie told me in a whisper. As we got closer, Julie told the hunters to put down their guns and raise their hands. I didn't notice that she had a gun in her hand and was pointing it up. Both of them were surprised and quickly turned to face us. "Who are you to tell us what to do?" asked one of them. I didn't feel good about this situation, but Julie kept going and said she was the game warden. Again, the same man spoke up and asked, "Well, what if we don't? What if we just do whatever we want and leave you here for dead?" Okay. Now that's a weird feeling. I wanted to move back to the suburbs I had just left. Nikki and Daisy had been running around behind these 2 guys, and for a short time they caught their attention. Nikki knocked over the calm one, but Daisy just barked at the scary one. As he raised his gun, my fear for the life of my beloved dog grew. Next to me, a loud explosion brought my attention back to the situation. Julie fired a shot into the air, and when the hunter turned around to face us, she had the gun aimed right at his chest. "Drop your weapon now, before you add any more charges to the list." Julie called out to him. He knew right away that he had no other choice, and did it. "Get down on the ground and put your fingers on top of your head. Do it now," Julie yelled at them both. After that, she put them in handcuffs and asked where their 3rd man was. "About a half-mile ahead is where he is," said the one who was quiet. I had just met this girl, who looked like she could have been a model if she hadn't been doing what she was doing. However, she had a very good understanding of the situation and was in charge of it. Julie used a walkie-talkie to call for help to find these 2 people and tell them where to find them. She'd told me, "Let's go," and we started walking toward the 3rd man. We found a gun on the forest floor and a lot of pine hay that looked like it had been running through. We walked another 100 yards past the rifle until we found Cole. She was looking up into a tree while pacing back and forth and wagging her tail. The 3rd hunter was in that tree. He seemed to have been caught off guard, and he wasn't a very good hunter either. I took care of the dogs, and Julie told the guy in the tree to get down. He almost looked relieved to be in Julie's care and out of Cole's way. We heard a helicopter coming up the mountain, and Julie radioed that we had a third and were heading back to the place we had said earlier. When we got there, we gave them number 3, and Julie thanked me for being willing to help. She told me she had to go because she had to file charges against the 3 men, but she would see me later. I looked at the clock and saw that it had been 6 hours since I had first met Julie. I wanted to get back home because it wouldn't be light for much longer. I put the dogs in the trailer and went on my way. The girls had a rough ride back, but they had to run a lot today, and I didn't want them to get too tired. After a good meal, the 4 of us fell asleep on the couch. I was tired from working and even more from the stress of the day. I hadn't felt this bad since I got here, but I fell asleep quickly, still in my clothes from the day, cuddled up with my 3 friends, who I was glad had been trained to know when something was wrong. I got up the next morning and started all over again. I was finally done after a few days. I was a little bummed that I didn't see Julie again. Julie came to my door about a week after our first meeting. She was standing outside my door that night, the last bits of daylight shining on her face. I think I saw again how pretty she was at that moment. I had just come back from town, where I bought food and other necessities for the next month. While dinner was cooking, I asked her to come in because we were about to eat, but she didn't seem very sure. I also said, "It's just a salad and pasta. It won't hurt you or me, and you're the one with the gun anyway." After a few more minutes of small talk, she came in reluctantly, and I ran to keep the pasta from getting too done. She sat down at the table while I finished cooking, set the table, and brought out the wine. "Wow, this food is delicious, and your kitchen has everything you need to make it. And this wine is a great match for the meal," Julie exclaimed. I told her that I liked cooking and that I had learned by reading a lot and making a lot of mistakes. She laughed, and it looked like she was starting to feel a little better. After the meal was over and I cleaned up, we went to the living room to keep talking. Down in the valley, the moon was shining brightly, and animals were walking around in the forest. Cole, Nikki, and Daisy were all lying on the floor next to the big sliding glass window and watching the animals. We talked while sitting about 2 feet apart on the couch. "When did you get here, Julie?" "I've been here for 6 years, and I don't plan to leave. You say that as if you've moved around a lot. No, not really. I guess I just want to stay in one place for the rest of my life. You kind of know everyone in town, so you can say things like, 'Oh yeah, you remember when so-and-so blah blah blah,' and have that comfortable feeling of being in a familiar situation where you know who will help you if you need it." "Well, from what I've seen in the short time I've known you, it doesn't seem like you need much help. Where did you come from before you got here?" I asked. "I grew up in a small town in rural Washington state, which is also where I learned how to do my job now. Then a job opened up for a large area in Montana, and I took it right away. The land is beautiful, and I was in charge of everything." "Then why did you leave?" "If it's okay to ask, I wanted to know more because I was interested. I have my own reasons." She said soon and looked like she wanted to move on. I didn't want to end the conversation on a sad note, so we talked for a few more minutes. "What do you like to eat in the morning?" I asked. She looked at me a little confused, since neither of us had drunk that much wine. Suddenly, she realized what time it was. She jumped off the couch, almost tripping over the sleeping dogs, and said, "I have to go. I'm sorry, I didn't know what time it was." "Don't be silly. I've really liked being with you and talking to you tonight. You can stay here tonight if you don't want to walk home. You can stay in the bedroom, and I'll stay here on the couch." She looked confused, so I said, "I don't know why, but the bedroom door has a lock, so you can lock it if you want to." She shook her head and said that it wasn't that she didn't trust me, but that it was something else. I told her that she should make a decision that makes her feel good. She asked to go back to the bathroom. When she came out a few minutes later, she told me she would sleep where I suggested. I had already shown her most of the house, so I took her upstairs to the bedroom and gave her a shirt that was too big to sleep in. We said goodnight, and then I left the room. When I got back to the living room, I poured myself another glass of wine and thought about what we had talked about. I wish people could sometimes just take things for what they are or face value. As I thought about it more, I realized that there are reasons why people don't do that. It's what keeps us safe and keeps us from getting hurt. After another glass of wine, I finally went to sleep, but I couldn't stop thinking about a lot of things. The next morning, I woke up with a bit of a hangover and saw Julie sitting in the chair next to me. "What time is it?" I asked, tired. She said, "It's almost noon. Is your breakfast offer still good, sleepyhead?" "It is, as long as I can get myself together." "Please give me a few moments." I went to the master bathroom to clean up and look better. I put some cold water on my face, brushed my long hair to make it look a little better, and took some aspirin. I saw that Julie left her clothes on the bed. As I smiled to myself, my headache got a little better. I hadn't even noticed if she was still wearing the shirt I lent her the night before because it was too big. I met her in the living room again and asked, "Since you didn't answer, what do you like for breakfast?" I started making some hot tea while she told me about this huge breakfast that sounded delicious, with eggs, hash brown potatoes, bacon, cinnamon toast, juice, and more. "You must be hungry," I said. "I'll get started." She had moved from the chair to the sofa and was enjoying the late morning sun. She was surrounded by the 3 dogs who had made a new friend. She let them out for a run while I was still sleeping. She sat on the couch with her legs dangling over the arm. The sun was pouring into the room. Her dark brown hair was a little corkscrewed and fell in front of her face. "Do you want to eat there? Or are you too tired to walk all the way to the table?" I asked from a distance of 12 feet. "Oh, I think I can make it to the table," she said in a "oh, pity me" voice. "I'm glad it won't be too hard." Once again, I must say, wow, everything looks great. "And is that pumpkin bread?" She said this as she looked at the plate of food I had just cooked. "Yes, please eat the eggs before they get cold." I got us each another cup of tea and joined her at the table where I made myself a dish. "How early did you get up?" "Around 7:30, but if you keep cooking for me, I'm going to have to start getting up at 4 o'clock. We'll see what we can do. For this kind of service, I'd better get a good tip, though." Both of us laughed at what I said. Everything felt nice, and there was no pressure, just comfort. "You asked me a lot of questions last night, and since everything tastes great, I have a few for you. Sure, go ahead. Where were you raised? Where were you before this?" "Well, I grew up in New Jersey near the beach and have lived there for most of my life." Between bites of breakfast, I said, "It's a little different from here. It's very flat there." "So then, how did you get here?" "I started spending a lot of time driving from place to place, sitting in traffic, and doing other hurry-up-and-wait things. I got tired of being in such a hurry. This land has been in my family for a long time, and when my parents died young, I thought it would be a great place to work and live." "What about your other family members and friends?" "The rest of my family lives in different places, and we wouldn't know each other if we ran into each other, and relationships. What questions do you have?" "I've only been to a few in the last year. I haven't been able to find what I'm looking for. What should they do?" "I don't think I know the answer. I'm not sure if there's even a right thing. Could you try to explain what it is?" "So it wouldn't be easy. It gets pretty personal and deep. I'm listening. I'm not sure if you want to go there." "Try me. I'm not sure. I think I know where you are going." "Oh, that's it? I didn't know where I was going." "While you were sleeping this morning, I was looking for sweatpants." "Do you always dress like a girl?" I was reeling. I didn't think Julie would know so much about me so soon. I was speechless. I just sat there looking dumbfounded and putting down my fork. At first glance, I had the chance to be completely honest about what was going on. When I went to look for pants this morning, I found a lot of other clothes and almost no men's clothes except for some jeans and shirts. Yes, I am like that. That's how I like to dress. It's just that most people think you're weird if you tell them. I just feel more at ease as a woman. I was able to answer, and I almost said it out loud. "I don't see anything wrong with that." "Really, I didn't want to talk to you last night, but now I feel much more at ease. I don't really like men, but I could tell you were different. And cross-dressers have always been interesting to me. You seem to have the body for it as well." "Thank you." All of a sudden, I felt much better. As you might guess, it's hard to meet people around here, let alone people who like the same things I do. Can I see you in all your clothes?" Maybe we can at least talk about girl things. I'd like that a lot." I said, "Me too. Do you call your other self by a name? It's Jennifer." I offered my hand with pride. Not long after that, we were done with breakfast. "How do you stay so skinny if that's what you eat?" I said, "Well, I don't always eat like that. And between the dogs, the land, and hiking to take pictures, I get a lot of exercise. Plus, I like to work out." "Anything else?" "Oh yeah, I love to swim. That's why I'm so glad there's also a lake here," I said. We went to the bedroom together because Julie wanted to look through my closet some more. "What do you like to wear most of the time?" "Things of all kinds, but usually more on the girly side. I like skirts because I like to show off my legs, which I think are one of my best features. Why don't you change into one of your favorite outfits and put on your makeup so I can see who you really are?" "Okay, if it's okay with you, I'll take a shower first." She nodded at me as she tucked herself into bed with a book and a few pillows. And I was off. I washed and conditioned my hair, and as usual, I shaved my underarms and legs. I used a nice-smelling body soap with coconut and orange. As soon as I got out of the shower, I put on lotion, perfume, and all my other girly things. I put on a bathrobe and went back into the bedroom. "Do you want me to show you anything in particular?" "Oh, whatever you want to wear for the rest of the day doesn't matter." I turned to my dresser and took out a bra and undies that matched, as well as a short pair of socks. On my way to the closet, I did a little spin for her. Once I got there, I chose a Tommy Hilfiger denim miniskirt, which is one of my favorite skirts. I also picked up a sweater that looks good on me. Back in my room, I put on my skirt and sweater and went back to the bathroom to finish my hair. I finished putting on my makeup and put on some jewelry. I said, "Ta-da! Here's the real me," as I walked back into my bedroom. As I stood there, not knowing what to expect, Julie looked me over. Julie finally said, "You've been doing this for a long time because you look like a real girl to me." I felt great opening up to someone who really wanted to get to know me. "Since the day is almost over, do you mind if we just hang out and get to know each other better?" I told her. Of course, that would be fun. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.